Okay, I'm still sat here with Justin Whitaker talking about Buddhism, and the topic we're going to talk about next was one that's very important, also in the press a lot at the moment, which is Buddhist meditation. There are two words I'd like to perhaps speak about shortly, which are samatha and vipassana. But also after that, we can perhaps talk about the place of meditation within Buddhism in a more general sense. But first, is samatha vipassana?
Sure, these are the two kinds of meditation found in the earliest Buddhist teachings, and what I pronounce as samatha or shamatha in Sanskrit is calming or relaxation form of meditation. It's kind of a preliminary stage where one centers oneself in the practice. And vipassana, or vipashyana, I believe, in Sanskrit, is insight. And in the word itself is pasana, which is to see. And the vi is kind of to see, clearly to see across, to cut through. And so these two forms of meditation are meant to kind of gather one and then allow one to settle one's thoughts and then to see clearly into the nature of reality, according to early Buddhism, which is going to be into not self, into dukkha or suffering, and into impermanence or anicca.
And I suppose the ultimate form of that kind of insight is into conditioned arising, the causality, how things are coming to be and passing away from being all around us. That's the kind of meditation the Buddha does just after his enlightenment. He sits and watches things as they come to be and stop being. I wonder, is there a sense in the minds of some Western students of meditation, including practitioners, that samatha is kind of introductory and vipassana is kind of advanced? So if you're doing vipassana, you're doing the kind of real hard, proper stuff, and that samatha is just the introductory, working out how to meditate. And is that a problem, that kind of qualitative distinction you often get?
You do get that distinction. I don't know how much it's problematic, and it kind of depends on the particular practitioner or person looking at it. And it's still kind of debated, I think, in academic circles, the extent to which vipassana is absolutely essential versus the possibility of gaining enlightenment possibly through samatha practices alone. So there have been, even in Theravada traditions, different emphases. So I guess trying to put one on top of the other can be problematic.
I've certainly spoken to some of the meditation teachers who said they get somewhat frustrated with students, often Western students who've read a little bit about Buddhism, who come to them and say, when do we stop doing the samatha and move on? I think I'm ready for the next stage now. And I said, well, it's not as simple as that, or it's kind of that's not what I teach.
Well, I think that probably goes into some of the popularizations of Buddhist meditation in the 20th century, kind of bringing out vipassana as this insight practice to gain enlightenment. Whereas here in the UK we have the Samatha Trust and that kind of teaching, which really focuses on the Samatha practice. So,
okay, thanks, Dan. And thinking about meditation in general, we tend to often think that we don't understand Buddhism if we don't understand meditation. Or the place of meditation in Buddhism is kind of difficult. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, I mean, the analogy of reading a basketball manual versus going out on the court and playing it might be there, or a piano, reading sheet music versus actually playing it. I think it's helpful for students to give it a try, even if it's just for one session, to see what happens with the mind when you just enter into a meditation a bit. We can talk about it intellectually in circles endlessly, but the practice is going to be different.
So some kind of experiential, even tiny experiential kind of insight can add a lot to any kind of analysis. The flip side to that, of course, is the opposite presupposition that all Buddhists spend loads of their lives meditating, which in traditionally Buddhist countries has been far from being the case.
Right. The model developed early on in Buddhism of lay people who are supporters of the Sangha
Mm.
and the Sangha members who ideally do meditate or become academics, work on preserving the texts. So even the Sangha members don't all meditate a lot.
So we tend to think, well, perhaps the kind of monks meditate for everybody, but actually amongst even monastic communities, you'll find people who specialize in meditation, and then people, as you say, who become academics or do other things, become abbots.
Or the security guards of the monastery, or
Yeah.
any number of jobs could be taken up.
So this idea that all Buddhists meditate, it's just not true.
Right, absolutely.
Well, we've at least established one empirical fact. That's probably a good thing.